Well, hello, welcome again to a reading through of Genesis. And as I mentioned before, I'm going to do it almost all in the Greek, but just for the first few verses, I thought we'd have a look at what the Hebrew says, just to compare the Hebrew with the Greek translation. And I got up to the beginning of verse 6 here. By the way, you'll notice a little pay here. This is called a petuka, and it's a paragraph marker which was used by the Masoretes. These are the same Jewish scholars who invented the pointing, as it's called. These are little marks and diacritical marks to put. These put the vowels in and also have other meanings. I don't know a lot about the other diacritical marks, just the vowel system, but there's a complicated, various different little symbols here that have various meanings. So at verse 6 here, we continue on. We've had the first day, so we have a vav yiktol form of amar, the verb to say, and Elohim, so and God said, another jussive form from the verb to be, let there be, this is rakiach, it's got a hey in at the end. This is a funny word. It means, often translated firmament. It simply means a kind of barrier, translated in the Septuagint by stereoma, as we'll see. The idea here is the ancient cosmology was that the waters get divided into two. There's the waters that are, well, upon the earth, or even below the earth, and there's the waters that are above the firmament. And little holes in the firmament give us rain, and so the waters get divided into two here. There's an explanation of, pre-scientific explanation of rain. So, and God said, let there be a firmament, betok, this is the inseparable preposition again, in the middle of, this will be a construct, hamayim, the waters, plural. So let there be a firmament in the middle of the waters, and we get another jussive form again. It's the same verb as we got here, except it's the vav yiktol form. So, and let there be, let it be. The subject of this may be God. It could actually be the firmament. So this form here is a hifil participle from that verb we've seen earlier, the badal. Badal, I should say. And this is a participle, so it's the verb meaning to separate. So separating, and so and let there be, or let it be, separating, making a separation, bain, between, mayim, waters. Now there's no article here this time, but literally between waters. The lut here is difficult. Lut normally means two or four. It's one of those inseparable prepositions. The Kametz here tells me that it is, we have to understand the as well. It's got an article here, used with the inseparable preposition. So it's literally between waters, literally two waters, but the commentators tell me that lut can be used in some instances in place of bain. So instead of saying between waters and between waters, they just use the la here. So it's between waters and between the waters, literally. Verse 7, we have again a vav yiktol form from the verb meaning to make. So, and God made, and there's our particle here telling us that what comes next is the object. Here we get the same word we had before for the firmament. So, and God made the firmament. This again is from that badal root. This is the vav yiktol form. And he made a separation, bain, between, Hamayim, the waters. Asher is that word, it's a relative pronoun, but unlike Greek, it doesn't have any gender or number or case or anything. It just tells you that this is a relative pronoun, so it can come from anything. So the waters which, understand, are, this is the inseparable preposition mean, which is often shortened to me, and so this simply means from, under, the, and now again he uses this he uses this l here, so it's from under, so from under, literally to the firmament, but it's just from under the firmament, and between the waters, a share which, again we get mean contracted to me, it's mehal, from over the, again we get this l here again, the firmament, and it was keen, this thus, it was so, generally rendered into the Septuagint by Hutos. And now we get a verb yiktol form from kara, meaning he called, so the verb to call, and Elohim, God called, again we get this l here, very strange, called to, but we don't translate the l. So he called the rakyah, the firmament, shamayim, which is the heavens, and there was heref, an evening, and there was boker, a morning, yom, sheni, day the second. So that is what's there in the Masoretic text for those verses, and I'll just go through quickly now the corresponding Septuagint version. And this is the last bit of Hebrew I was going to do. I'm going to do from now on completely in Greek. So starting at verse 6 here, Kai apen, and God said, Genetheto, let there be stereoma. This is this rachiach, the firmament. It's an interesting word. It's used in earlier Greek by philosopher Anaxagoras, meaning a solid body. It's used in Aristotle in the sense of a foundation. It occurs in the New Testament, Colossians 2:5, where it talks about steadfastness, the steadfastness tes pistios, of faith. Here it is a kind of dome of heaven, believed in their cosmology to be a solid canopy. So God said, let there be a firmament in the middle of the waters, of the water singular, and it's plural in the Hebrew, and let it be dividing. Again, this is not particularly good Greek, but it is good Hebrew. So this is a participle, as in the Hebrew, from diacharisto. So let it be making a division and a meson between water and water. Again, the Hebrew has plural here. The translator does not make any attempt to deal with that two or four word that's being used in the sense of between in the Greek. Kai ageneto, and it was hutos thus. This is for that keen we had in the Hebrew. And God made the firmament, and there's our verb again, to separate. And God separated. Now it's interesting here, it's God who does the separation. Theos is mentioned once in the Hebrew, but gets mentioned twice in the translation, because it could have been the firmament, I thought, perhaps in the Hebrew, but the translator explicitly says God separated between the water, which was hypokato, below the firmament, and between the water which was above the firmament. Kai kalesen hotheos to stereoma uranon, and God called the firmament heaven. Now this next little bit here, these there's six words here, do not appear in the Hebrew. So this is a repetition of the earlier bit, and God saw that it was good. It may come as a bit of a surprise, but it appears that from elsewhere that there are the text that the translator had when he was translating this from Hebrew into Greek was an Ur text. It was not identical with the modern Masoretic Hebrew text that we have now. So there are extra bits in the Septuagint that are not in the original Hebrew, and this is one of them. So God saw that it was good, and there was Hespera kai agenita proi, he mera deutera. And there was an evening, and there was a morning, day deutera the second, following again the Hebrew quite closely there. So that's just the first 8 verses of Genesis, and from now on I'll just be translating the Greek. I'm more comfortable in Greek than I am in Hebrew, and it would take too long to do both versions all the way through. So that is the first 8 verses.